this country is at war with Germany.
We had to do a job, and we did the job, and that was it.
The men had to go and fight, and the women had to take their place.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
Hello and welcome to the Foxhole Chat. This week we're diving into a little bit of a different one, a bit more of a personal story. So we're going to be diving into a bit of family history from me and Katie. So we're quite, I don't know if lucky is the right word, but I'm going to use it anyway. We're quite lucky that we do have some connection to World War II and the World Wars in general, with some of our relatives having served. Now, disclaimer straight away, this isn't super detailed. We don't know everything because sometimes it's quite difficult to find your family history. Trying to use the National Archive website is like trying to navigate a minefield. Quite frankly, as amazing as it is, it's quite a difficult website to use. And yes, unfortunately, because my relative, my great-grandfather, who I'm going to talk about briefly, he survived the war, and I was talking to a local historian the other day, actually, and he does a lot with Commonwealth war graves around here in North Wales, and he was saying it's very difficult to find information about family members who survived. It's easier when they passed away because you've got all the history. You've got when they served and then when they died, and all that information is kind of there in one place. So it's kind of difficult if they survived, because chances are they didn't talk about it. Records were just kept in suitcases in lofts, and then they were thrown away because people didn't think anything of them. So yeah, just a disclaimer that we don't know everything, but we just wanted to talk about it because it's a nice varied topic, and it's always nice to dive into your own personal history. So, Katie, what do you know about your family history in the World Wars, World War One or World War Two?
So I've just picked World War Two, mainly because if we did World War One as well, this episode would be rather long.
Yeah.
So, first up on my dad's side, my grandma, she was in the NAFI.
Oh wow.
So she was based at a couple of places throughout the war. So I don't know when she was at which place. But she was at HMS Royal Arthur, which was a training base for the Royal Navy personnel out in Skegness,
wow,
which is now the site of the Butlins Holiday Park.
Oh.
So the Luftwaffe bombed that site 52 times, with one major attack in 1940, which destroyed hundreds of small buildings. So I don't know if she was there during that. She was also at RAF Newton. So it's a bomber base in North Nottinghamshire. They had ferry battles and then Wellingtons, and then from 1941 to 46, that became a training base for the Polish airmen that served in the RAF. Then there was a POW camp at Woodall Spa, Roughton Moor Camp. That was a temporary base for Allied airborne forces during the war, but then later, sort of like late war, after war, it housed German POWs and the Polish Resettlement Corps. So she worked there for a bit as well.
Wow. So she was very much like, not necessarily military, but dealing with a lot of different people and, trying to help them and maybe, talking to them and hearing stories and maybe trying to comfort them as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so HMS Royal Arthur, that would have been a training base, so that would have been the early stages of the seaman's career. RAF Newton, a bomber base. There's a scene in Masters of the Air with the girls in the truck serving coffee, donuts. Chances are she would have done something similar like that.
Yeah. So you got to think that's sometimes like maybe an overlooked part of the war of people from that side. If she made friendships with people on, let's say, the bomber base, for example, and they don't come back, how hard must that have been? You see them once and then, or you see them a few times, you think, oh, I really like you, we really get on, and then that's it, they go on a mission and they don't come back, unfortunately.
Yeah. And apparently, at this POW camp, she might have got a little bit friendly with one of the Germans.
Oh, no, we can't have this. No, we can't be having this fraternization. No, go on. What's the story?
That's as much as I know at the minute.
Leaving us on tender hooks.
I know that's
If
the
there's any
cliffhanger.
historians out there, James, Al, if you're listening, help us out. We need to know more. We need to know more.
Yeah, I'll see if I can do some more digging on that one, and then we'll come back for a part 2.
Yes. Oh, amazing.
So that's all I've got on Grandma. Grandma's cousin William, was killed in Anzio
Okay.
on the 10th of February 1944.
Hmm.
And he was a chef with the Sherwood Foresters.
Okay.
So we're not sure how he died. Not sure if he was saying, given a gun, the bad guys are over there, crack on with it.
Yeah.
But with him being a chef, chances are he might have spent most of the time behind the front lines, cooking dinner for everybody. So whether he was just very unlucky and like an artillery shell landed in the middle of the kitchen or not. So yeah, we're not sure how he died, but he's buried in Anzio Cemetery in Italy.
Oh, wow. Have you ever been to visit?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
me and
amazing.
Dad did a 3-week tour of Europe
Oh,
few years ago,
amazing.
and it was one of the stops.
Oh, amazing. I bet that was very, I don't know if moving's the right word or powerful. Like, how did you find it visiting there?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. When was it? What, about 15 years ago now?
Oh God! Oh right, okay.
So
okay.
yeah, it was a while ago.
Right.
You know, I was still at school at that point.
Yeah. So do
So
you
it
think
probably wouldn't have hit harder as it possibly would do now?
that was going to be my next question? I was going to say, like, with your current state of affliction with the Second World War, do you think, now that you know more and you appreciate more of the subject, do you think it would possibly hit a bit harder?
Yeah. So it was a 3,000-mile trip we did there and back to Italy. So
Yeah.
Italy was our turning point to come home.
Right.
So that would have been, what, 1,500 miles away. So it's very, very far from home.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the last one on my dad's side, my great uncle Jess, was in the RAF.
Amazing.
He was an armourer for Lancaster Bombers.
Nice.
In 100th Squadron, and he was based at RAF Grimsby, I think. And he survived the war. And yeah, that's all I could find out about him as well, to be fair.
Yeah. I suppose, like I said before, he probably had stories that he maybe didn't ever share, and on one level you understand that, but then on another level, we wish you would have, spoken about it, because even though he was an armourer, he was on the bomb base, he wasn't involved in missions or sorties or anything like that. But again, there probably was traumatic things that happened, losing friends, hearing about different events, sort of thing. So it will have still affected him. But like I said at the start, it's quite nice that we kind of have this little bit of connection to the war, I think, for sure.
So on my mum's side, my great granddad, he was in the TA with the Sherwood Foresters in the late 20s, and then the early 30s joined the Royal Artillery as a reserve. He was recalled in 1939 for obvious reasons. And then served in the war, went back to being a reserve in 1946. So he got the 3945 star, the Defence Medal, the War Medal, and an Africa star and an Italy star.
Wow, he's been there and seen it all, really. Yeah.
So he's travelled a bit.
Just a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Again, most of the stuff I found is like where they served, what they did, and that was about it. So not much personal stuff, but I'm hoping there's some hidden war diary in somebody's loft.
Oh, I wish.
That I might find one day.
Yeah, let's hope. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed,
We'll
people.
see.
Yeah.
My great-great-uncle Chris was also in the Royal Artillery. He got 3945 star, Defence Medal, War Medal, and the Burma Star.
Wow.
So we think, well, apparently when he died, all of his wartime record and stuff came out at the funeral, which none of the family knew.
Right.
So we think he was a POW in Burma.
Mm. Mm.
And he's only got the Burma Star, so potentially he would have been captured when the Japanese invaded, so what, 1941, 42-ish?
Yeah.
And then spent the rest of the war as a POW in Burma.
God.
I did try to find out about his POW record, but because I didn't have any dates or any more sort of specific information, I did struggle to find anything else out. Unfortunately.
Yeah. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. My great uncle Septimus.
What a name! What a name!
There was quite a lot of children, and he was the seventh child,
Wow.
hence being called Septimus.
Ah, okay.
So he was killed, aged 20, in the Home Guard.
Oh, okay.
So there was an air raid on the 12th of March 1943 at 9:30 at night. There was 9 high explosive bombs and a number of incendiary bombs fell on Bolden Colliery. So for those that don't know English geography, that's up Newcastle way. 20 houses were demolished. Extensive damage to others, including the local police station. So the deaths included the local scoutmaster, civilians, and my great-great-uncle Septimus.
Jeez.
So I'm guessing, again, we couldn't find out anymore, that he would have been on duty the night of the air raid and helping the ARPs or the fire service put the fires out or whatever, because with 6 high explosive bombs and incendiary bombs, the Luftwaffe were coming over to well and truly set the place alight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I wonder, that would be cool to try and find out. It would be very, very difficult. I was going to say, try and find out why they specifically dropped the bombs there. Was it, I know you say Newcastle Way, so was it near the port? Was it, that sort of thing? Or was it they were going back to Norway with it, and they missed their target or whatever, and they thought, we'll just drop the bombs here, which happened very often. My
guess would have been the docks, factories, the rail lines, like the typical Air Force bombing targets.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And talking about Air Force, my cousin Stanley, it's like a very distant cousin.
Yeah.
But he's still a cousin.
Yeah.
Still bears the family name. He was in the RAF as a wireless operator in a Wellington in 166 Squadron. He was shot down off the Dutch coast after a bombing run on Dortmund, and he's buried in Amsterdam Cemetery.
Wow. Have you visited? I know you say it's a distant one, but have you visited that grave?
No, we've not really done Holland too much. We went last October, but that was just for the day, just to go to a museum.
Oh, yes.
But it's like right on the outskirts of Amsterdam.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we'd have to be careful of like traffic and like emission zones and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably get there one day.
Yeah. It's another thing to add to the list, another trip to plan.
Yes, exactly. Cousin Edward was an able seaman in the Royal Navy. So he was on a motor launch boat, which is basically a small armed vessel for coastal operations, anti-submarine patrols and harbour defence. So basically a patrol boat. We think he died of illness, but we're not sure because the boat did survive the war and it was sold in 1946. So he didn't go down with his ship, sort of thing. So we think he died of an illness.
Yeah.
And my other cousin Edward, which is the last one I've got, he was in the East Yorkshire Regiment as a lance corporal, attached to headquarters of the 8th Infantry Brigade. They landed on Sword Beach at 8:25 in the morning on D-Day. And he's buried in Bonneville Cemetery in Normandy, but he's also on the British Memorial.
Oh wow! No way.
As well.
No way. That's a cool. I think you said the best to last there. Not that I'm making it a competition, but in historical context, that's quite a big one and a special one. And yeah, I think it doesn't matter how far. What's the word I'm looking for? Not reserved. How far descended you are from that person? Like you said, they still bear the family name. You are a relative, so it's quite a special tie to have.
Well, we didn't think he was ours to start with.
Oh, right, okay.
Because we've got nobody else in the East Yorkshire Regiment or up that way. But doing the family tree, and it's like that cousin and that cousin.
Yeah.
And he eventually linked
right
to us.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's in Normandy, died on D-Day, and is on the British Memorial.
God, amazing. Well, sad, but amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my family history is I only have two that I know of. The most prominent one is from my mum's side. So my mum's side of the family is from Wales originally, North Wales, where I live now. And it's my great tide or great grandfather. And my mum always knew that he served in the Second World War. She always had this idea that it was Monte Cassino. So we always had this idea of Italy, but she never knew really, family didn't talk about it. Obviously he didn't talk about it. Like I said before, seen many a traumatic thing probably. But it was only in the last couple of years that I kind of got afflicted by this, that my mum decided to want to research it. So she went on the National Archives and she did find quite a few records, but a lot of them are medical. By the power of editing, they'll hopefully appear. There's one where it shows his teeth, his dental assessment. But there is, I think, one document that was really, or two documents was really interesting, where it said entered theatre. God, I can't get my words out today. It states, I blame the British summer. It's come early. Entered theatre of operations. There we go. In May 44, and it said Italy. So yes, D-Day Dodger, all that malarkey. Yeah, but we didn't know anything more than that. And then there's another document that says the medals that he was awarded, the Defence Medal, the War Medal, and the Italy Star, I think, from what I can remember. So, that was cool. Okay, we know he served in Italy, but for me and my mum, but me in particular, I'm like, I want to know where he fought, who he fought with, what battle he was, involved in, where did it lead him, sort of thing. And very luckily, actually, a friend of the podcast, Geraint Jones, and if you haven't listened to that episode, why not? It's one of our best ones. I think he was our first guest. So go back and check that out after you finish listening to this one. But yes, Geraint Jones, friend of the podcast, very kindly looked at the records that I have, because he's written two World War II books, so he's kind of looked through archives before, and him being a military man himself, I kind of knows the lingo and that sort of thing. So he looked at it, and what he could kind of deduce that my great tide was in the Welsh regiment to begin with, and then when he got to me, he was transferred to the 61st Infantry Brigade. And I have the unit history here, and it starts in May 44, so this is the period of time that my great tide would have been in. I haven't read it yet because my to be read list is incredibly long, but it is the next book on my list, and I can't wait to start reading it. And what Geraint kind of deduced that he was a casualty replacement and the 61st Infantry Brigade, from what I've read briefly in the book, it was kind of cobbled together in May of 44. It was a lot of lots of bits of other brigades and regiments, so let's form a new one. So it was formed in May of 44 from what I've read so far. And survived the war. So served in Italy, went all the way through. And then after the war, again, we didn't really know much, but he settled down back in Wales again, in North Wales, became an avid gardener. From what my mum knows, he was the deacon of a chapel as well. So became I think he was always religious from what my mum knows. But he became extra religious after the war, after what he went through. So just wanted a quiet life, a bit like Dick Winters from Band of Brothers, just wanted a little corner in the world where he could live in peace. And My Great Tide, I think, was very, very similar to that. So I can't wait to dive in more. And again, I was talking to a local historian the other day, and I was talking to him about my history of my Great Tide. And he was saying, unfortunately, because of the 100-year rule or something like that, he said where the records are still kind of held back. And obviously the First World War has been and gone, so those records are they're all out now. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure I'll still be afflicted in another 20 years' time. So when those records come out, hopefully I can dive into them. And learn more about him. And he's buried in North Wales. He met my younger brother when he was born, but unfortunately I was born too late to meet him, which is a shame, because I would have loved to try to get any little tidbit out of him of information. And I'm sure, there's stuff in a loft, or that was in a loft somewhere, and I would love to get my hands on that eventually, maybe. But yes, I'm very happy that I have a tie, and that I have a decent bit of information. But I'm greedy. I like I said, I want to know more. I want to know it all. I want the nitty-gritty, but I'll get there. Now, the other bit of history is from the other side of my family. And I really know very, very little. And this is just from one picture I've got. And I'm going to read it verbatim because it's literally only small. So it turns out I had, I don't know what relation, whether it would be uncle or I don't think it was grandfather or great grandfather on my other side of my family. But it's Lieutenant Colonel H.K. Ogden. And he spent 37 years in the army, with 5 years in the War Office. He worked with the Royal Artillery and spent time in Italy during World War II. So there we go. You've got both of them, or I've had two of my relatives were both in Italy, maybe at the same time. We don't know. But yes, I'm glad I have a little bit of information. But yeah, I just wish I knew more, but alas.
Yep. If anybody does know more and can point us, or at least point us in the right direction, please do let us know. Drop us a message or comment or whatever. We'd love to know, to be able to find out more. So, anything to add from you?
No, just echo those sentiments, really. Yeah, if you've got any tips, if you know a really good website for war, archives, that isn't the National Archives here in the UK, or Ancestry, or War Forces Records, I think it is the other one. If you know of a website that we don't know about, to specifically for the Italy campaign or whatever, let us know. Yeah, we'd be super appreciative.
Yep, and if you've got a family story you want to share, again, let us know in the comments or drop us a message.
Yep.
We'd love to hear those as well.
Yeah.
So that's us signing off for another week. Hope you can join us next week in the Foxhole for some more war waffle, whatever that might be. And we'll see you next time.